I noticed one thing last week when we did it. It sounded like we were a mile away from the microphone.
So do we need to talk into the microphone like this? Hello, podcast community.
I'm just going to. I can't see fucking shit out of this thing.
I can't see fucking shit out of this thing. I don't know.
Cheers.
Cheers. Hang on. I gotta. Oh, pinky clink. Out. Clink, clink.
Oh. Can I get it? I can.
Tea time.
So what's up? Welcome to our hot mess tea party. Where the only tea we spill is our own most of the time. It is really hot in here.
It's okay. You know what? Pain is beauty. I mean, we know this.
Beauty is pain?
Beauty is pain.
Pain is
beauty.
Yeah, it can be.
You know what else is painful? Dating.
Looking like this.
Oh, men.
Men.
You know what they say about men?
They ain't shit?
Yeah, well.
It was something like that.
Men ain't shit, but that's why we say, oh man. Like, that's why we have this.
Like when things suck?
Yeah, when things
like,
suck, you say, oh man, because men are just disappointing.
You definitely don't say a woman.
Never. It's too hard to say.
No.
It's too hard to say that. But I will say, since it's spooky season, we should talk about
something really scary.
Really scary, like
the dating world.
Dating apps.
Yes!
Ghosting.
Yeah.
Pretty much all of the above. It's really a train wreck out here. I mean, it really is. I went through some pretty scary situations from like the beginning of the pandemic to like, I don't know, 6 months ago when I just kind of gave up on it entirely. The ghosting is insane. What are you guys doing? Like, what are these guys doing?
Where are y'all going?
Where are they going? They're just
I know. Like, everything's gone. A lot of them you match with, they're kind of local, so it's like if you can't go far. I'm going to see you at Walmart.
I mean, I think a lot of it is the wives find the dating profiles. That's a lot of it. I really honestly think, because it's like it's weird because like they'll ghost from like
ruin everything.
They'll ghost from like 7 to 4, and then they pop back in at like 9:30 when the wife goes to bed, and they're like, well, we'll just see what old Lindsay's up to.
A wife can really put a damper on a relationship real quick.
You know what? I've put dampers on relationships I wasn't even aware of. There's women out there that hate me, and I'm like, I've never heard of you ever. Like, why am I the bad guy?
What upsets me is that we are the bad guy. Even like if you try to reach out. Now, some of them are pretty decent about it, and I have full respect for the ones that will like be like, oh my God, yeah, that is my man.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times, most of the time, we don't know about it. But it's the ones that want to block you or cuss you out, and you're like, I'm just trying to find out if we have a match here.
Yeah.
Are we seeing the same person or what?
Well, you know, I wasn't involved with the guy. I watched it, and it's like, you know, I went through that with my divorce, and I've seen so many women. And the one thing I wish in my divorce is that somebody would have told me. Like, I wish that somebody had just, hey, girl.
Yeah.
And I love it. I wish somebody had hey girled me, and I see the TikToks, and these girls hate it. They're like, I don't want anybody coming to me as a woman, and I wanted everybody to come to me as a woman because I wouldn't have been out here for 2 years looking stupid.
Right. Exactly.
But, you know, I watched a girl I knew personally I watched her husband. So I'm with a pretty brunette. She is a beautiful blonde, and I watched him in Nashville more than a couple of times with different girls. And the last one, he's holding hands with her walking down Broadway, and I don't like him. He's trash. He's a trash human being. And
sounds like it.
Yeah, and I reached out to be like, hey girl, you know, like to give her a heads up because, you know, nobody really wants to go through that. But I'm like, I was real concerned with the stuff that I had heard and the fact that I respected her as a woman. She's a good wife. She's just a decent person. And, you know, tried to reach out, blocked. I mean, it just immediately, like, she's not ready to hear it. And that's fine. And I'm immediately the bad guy because I tried to reach out. And some women just don't want to hear it. So I just learned, like, sometimes maybe maybe it's best just to kind of be quiet and not say anything.
Oh, that sucks.
And it
though.
does suck. It does suck because then you become the bad guy for opening your mouth.
Yeah, like I don't want to hold on to that either.
No, yeah, or being single. These women like they'll immediately think that you're the threat, or she's jealous, or she's this and that. Like, no, some of us really just genuinely don't want to see you get played.
We're trying to tell you.
We're trying to tell you, girls.
The only one that wants your man is you and the other one, like his side piece. That's it. That's it.
I mean, and some of these men are out here. They just love the attention, and then some of them love the attention for like a hot second, and then poof, they're ghosting. They'll just the no communication skills. I mean, or they'll come back. What do they call that? Zombieing. I think that's the one where they like die and they come back to life. I think that's what the new term is, where they'll, instead of they'll ghost you. They're dead, they're gone, and then they come back to life and they're like, "What are you doing?"
Sir, it's been 7 months.
Who is this? Jared? I'm sorry, you're going to have to be specific. I've talked to like 18 Jareds since November. Let's just be specific here.
Send me a picture holding my name.
Yeah. Or like, with your favorite kitchen mitt. Turn in a circle. Make it a video message. Turn in a circle. Pot your nose. Do all the things.
I feel like that's really important to ask for early on also, because the catfish.
Oh, God.
Oh, my gosh. They didn't even do, back when I used Tinder was 2015, 2014. They didn't do that back then that I know of. Like, I'm pretty sure everybody I talked to was real. But what is happening today? Like, scammers?
Well, I went through that with the guy. I think I told you that story about the guy from
but it's
Tinder. The Tinder guy. So, we met, we talked, or we didn't meet. He had a Tinder profile. All right, let's.
Any dead fish on it?
No dead fish. It was like, he was kind of bro-ish. Like, he was really in shape. Well, I assumed he was in shape. All of the pictures, red flag number 1, and this is my fault for just, being naive. All of his pictures had somebody else in them. Like, it was,
group photos.
Yes, group photos was all group photos.
Hate group photos.
But there was one guy in every picture who had a hat on, who was very obviously the same person. So I assumed that was the person I was talking to on the dating app. And so, we chit-chatted, and he was nice enough, like, right out of the gate, that we talked for a minute. I gave him my phone number. Huge mistake. Because immediately he's, like, sending pictures of his ass. Like, immediately, ass pictures. Immediately, like, and they were all, like, he would send a picture, and it would be, like, his stomach or his chest or half his face, like, this. And so I was like, no, we're not doing this. And immediately I was like, I'm sorry, I can't gauge what you're trying to do here. This is not what I'm looking for. I'm turned all the way off. And I let him know that I was. And he was like, please just let me call you. Are you available? Let me call. We'll talk. So he calls me, and I said, look, like, so as I'm on the phone with him, no joke, I'm on the phone with him, I'm going back to his Tinder profile, which is already gone. It's gone. It's disappeared. Completely gone. And I'm like, okay, luckily I screenshot everything. So I screenshot, I'm skimming through these pictures, and I asked him which guy in the picture he was. Like, I assumed it was the guy in the hat. And so he verified that he was the guy in the hat. And I was like, okay. So we continued the conversation. He calls me. We had a really nice conversation. He kind of laid out the ground rules, what he was looking for. And, he just goofs around. And sometimes he'll send pictures. And he's like, it's dating apps. And sometimes you just kind of play your cards to see what's out there. He seemed very intelligent because he seemed to kind of know the game he was playing, which, was fine. It's fine. They all play it. And you just kind of
We do too.
Yeah, we play the game too. I'm not sending pictures of my ass to like strangers, but
we don't play that game. But
we're not playing that game. But anyway, he we talked, and he's like, hey, if you're available, I was teaching a class in Russellville, and he was like, maybe we should grab coffee. Maybe before your class, we'll meet somewhere public. And I thought, deal. That would be casual.
Was he from there, or was he
from
in the
Russellville?
area?
Yeah, he was from Russellville. He worked at the ferry, so I thought, okay, he comes through here, like, it seemed harmless to just meet him for coffee. So it was exactly what I did. It was early in the morning, and he drives up in like a $65,000 truck. It's a very nice truck. And he gets out of the truck, and it was so obvious that he wasn't any of the guys in the picture. None of them. And, I'm too nice. I'm too nice to be like, fuck this. Because the thing was is that he was not a terribly unattractive guy. The problem is that he was terribly, and that became so apparent right out of the gate of meeting this guy. He was terribly insecure. And
that's sad.
I couldn't understand if it was insecurity or if he had another situation going on, because you just never know. But he did call me, and the number that he called me from, I asked him, why. It was almost like it was a burner phone. It popped up weird on my phone. And it was all the red flags going, Lindsay, don't do this. You're going to get sex trafficked. Did it what?
Did it pop up Muhammad?
Oh my God. No, it wasn't Muhammad.
That story's for another day.
Ooh, that's extra tea. We're gonna need
Was
more
Adam?
Tea-quila for that tea time. No, he wasn't. But he wasn't a terribly unattractive guy. He maybe wasn't my type, but I don't particularly like look. I mean, looks are right out of the gate. Yeah, you kind of want the instant attraction, but I have met some super hot guys that became instantly unattractive. Mm-hmm. So, and then I've met some guys that were not exactly my type, not exactly my physical type, that became more attractive the more I got to know them. So to me, no, I think initial attraction sometimes is important in certain situations, because not everybody's going to give you the time of day. It's a hard, I don't know, it's kind of a hard road to tread. Because, a lot of us go, that's what the dating apps are triggered for. It's that instant attraction. So, that's why there's so many horror stories with dating apps, because we're looking at pictures and we're going, okay, they look nice. We don't know anything about them. We know maybe 4 things if they put that on their profile, but most of the time the men don't, especially not on Tinder.
Yeah. They
don't put anything about themselves, so you're going solely off the looks. And this time I learned a lesson, because I went solely off the looks. I thought he was a good looking guy, and then he just wasn't that guy.
But, honestly, most of the time we do. Studies show we do. A lot of us don't want to admit it because it seems shallow. It's not. It's normal. Physical attraction.
You want to be attracted. That's the thing. You want to be physically attracted. And I believe that attraction is more than just physical. But I think an initial meeting people, I think there needs to be some kind of initial attraction.
I mean, if you work with somebody, you can get to know their personality, right, and that will up their attraction. Right. But on a dating app, it's going to be physical attraction. Like
my ex-husband, I don't find him to be an unattractive dude at all. But I wasn't necessarily attracted to him. He was not somebody that I would have went for. But I saw him every day. We went to high school together, and I saw him every day and got to know him, and that attraction grew over time. And still to this day, I look at him, I'm like, you're really not my type now. But then
definitely not now.
Definitely not now. I'll pass.
Definitely
pass now. But I mean, you look at it. But this guy was crazy. The catfishing was crazy, and that's not even the craziest Tinder story. Bananas. These guys are absolutely bananas on there. I mean, they're so proud of their wieners.
Oh God.
They think
Put it up.
Put it up.
Put it up, please.
Look. If you're gonna send a dick pic to a girl, put some googly eyes on it. Make it funny.
Oh my God. I matched with a guy on Tinder who would send it because he was Greek, and he asked me if I wanted a Greek sandwich, and he sent it in a bun. And
That's
I was
amazing.
This is clever.
It's clever.
It is.
Be clever about it.
And it didn't make me block
We don't care about the angles. We don't care if you're just getting, snap, or angles. It's not that big, and we know it's not that big.
Yeah, if you're shooting from the bottom up, it's
yes.
not that big.
We know if you're shooting this and you're getting half your face in it, we know.
Yeah, if I see the bottom of your chin.
But that's another thing, too. It really doesn't matter at all then. Some women have preference, and that's fine. I don't have a preference there.
I do.
Desiree does. I do not. But then again, I've seen so many that were sent to me through Tinder. I should have a collage.
I'm picky. I'm kind of picky. I'm like Goldie Cox. It can't be too big. It can't be too small. It has to be just right.
Just right. Lukewarm, dipped in oatmeal.
Yeah. About 8. That's my just right.
8 inches.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's well above average.
I dated a guy that was 11, and that was no. That was
just
no.
seems like that would.
It was horrible. I think it was terrifying.
It would kind of hurt my feelings, among other things. I'm just not into it because I don't know. I had a guy once that he was all right. He was doing well and didn't have a clue what to do with it.
Yeah.
It's just they don't have a clue. Some of them don't have a clue, and that just really doesn't matter. But then again, I'm also very much an emotionalist. I like the emotional connection, and to me that makes it better. So
it does help. It does help. But then afterwards, as you look back, you're like, oh man, that was sloppy dick there. That was no good.
But it's not catfish dick.
It's not.
That's one. The catfish. I just can't imagine. I just don't know what it is. The filters are fine. Like women, men say that, like, well, women use the filters. I'm like, still the same person in there. You might have shaved like a little angle off the chin. I mean, I got a little.
I do.
I have a little roundish, almost kind of a squarish face, and I think about doing the filters like all the time, and then I'm like, I just would rather people see what I look like. And if you'll pass, it's fine. It's fine. Maybe not your cup of tea, but
in dating I would, but in general I tend to hide it because people are really mean.
They're super mean. I can't understand why people are so, well, scratch that. People are really mean because of insecurity.
Like a little rainbow that just went over.
Rainbow insecurities. God, and men have them, I think, worse than women. And the insecurities of men, I almost become like violent to a degree, like the dating app guys. Like reject a guy on Tinder. I've rejected so many guys on Tinder, and almost always their go-to is like, well, you're fat anyway.
Oh, it's always
or you're not my type. But they're like, you swiped. Yeah. I'm not your type now, but I was your type 10 minutes ago when you were like super into me. But I personally think like any man looks at most women, and I think it's biological. I think most men really don't. I think they have a preferred type, but I think most men's type are everybody. I really do. Because I see my ex, and I look in the mirror sometimes, and I think, do I look a certain way? And then I see some of the trolls he found himself with, and I was like,
but as long as as far as longevity goes, they get a little pickier. Yeah. Like when they just want to wet it, there's no type.
No, there's no type. They'll put it anywhere.
Oh yeah.
And I think if women started making better boundaries with these men, the TikToks I see on a regular basis about the situationships. We got to stop that shit. We need to stop with the situationships. If a man cannot take you on a proper date, stop going to his house. Ladies, stop going to his house.
Yeah, if he doesn't want to be seen with you in public, there's a reason for that.
Yeah. He has a girlfriend.
Find out why.
He doesn't really like you. He's not attracted to you. He sees no future with you. Those things don't measure your worth. It's him 100%.
Yeah.
And that's fine. It's fine. There's nothing wrong necessarily with him for making those choices. And I say this in defense of men is, hey, let him do it.
I feel like that's fair.
I say that in defense of men because like women can be just as absolutely vicious as men can. So I say in defense of men, like I don't want to say that all men that find themselves in situations like that are shitty men. I don't believe that because I think those same men, not all of them, but a lot of those same men would date a woman properly. I think when a man steps to you and he's not offering those things right out of the gate, immediately say no. And I think if we stopped more of that shit, they would quit doing it. They would quit with the
you're just ass. If they don't want to be seen out in public with you, you're just ass. Don't count meeting their friends because their friends aren't going to tell you. Like, that's their friend. They're going to back them up regardless. They're going to lie to your face. They don't give a shit about you.
They don't give a shit.
If you're not being seen in public, that's a problem.
But it's wackadoo shit. It's wackadoo shit that they're doing with the come over, bitch. I'm done with it. 12 o'clock at night, 10 o'clock at night. I had one yesterday. Fun story. My friend who, is 10. She's a 10, gorgeous. she could have any guy she wanted. And I texted her yesterday because I'd not heard from her like all day. And I get a message in my inbox, and it's some guy that she has repeatedly told me won't really give her the time of day. Like he invites her over, but won't ever invite her out. And, she's not really gotten herself in a situation with him, but she's kind of crushed on him, and she just kept kind of waiting for him to ask her out. And she just ignored him for like a whole day, and he's in my inbox wanting to check on her.
Good for her.
And I was like, touche. I
Good for
texted her to
her.
tell her how proud I was.
Yes.
She got this dude super worried about her well-being because she was giving him attention is the thing. And he was not acknowledging that attention. You know what they're doing today? He's taking her on a date. And I'm not like the women. This is the excellent. Like, I had to bow to her about how the game is played. She kind of played his game for a minute and then just said, you know what? Fuck this shit. I'm not doing this with him. I am not going to engage in whatever he's doing. So she spent like a whole day ignoring him. And then sure enough today, he's like, let me take you out.
I'm doing a project on physical attraction, and mine is going to be geared more towards if we are willing to overlook bad qualities, like bad qualities, like abuse for physical attraction. And it makes me think of this one guy that I met on Tinder. He was, oh my God, he was so pretty. He had the prettiest smile I had ever seen in my life. And I met him out in public, as you should. We went and we met at Starbucks. First of all, he was late. I don't like that. So in my mind, the reason you're late is because you want me to go ahead and buy my own. Like, straight up, that's why you're running late, because you want me to get my own. So I did. And we sit out there and we talk for a little bit. And then we were supposed to go to a movie. And when time came, he was like, oh God, I can't. I have to go home. I left something on the stove. I was like, you did not. You didn't walk out of your house with food on the stove. Your house would be on fire. And he's like, yes, I did. Yes, I did. And he was like, if you don't believe me, you can just follow me back. And so, of course, I call his bluff on this because I'm like, there's no way. You actually have food cooking on your stove. We've been here like an hour. So I follow him back. Yes, he did. But he kept it on warm so that he wouldn't catch it on fire. And
it's a good excuse,
yeah. Like, he made me food and we ate there and it was so good. God, he was such a good cook. And he wanted to do stuff and I was like, no, this is the first time. Not my goodies. And so the next time he invites me over and I go over to his place again. And this whole time I'm just like head over heels because I'm like, this guy is too good for me. He was that hot. He was so hot. And again, no, let's just stay at my house. I don't want to go anywhere. So as hot as he was, had to throw that one back.
It's hard to do. It's hard to throw those fish back. Like when they're so hot, when they're so physically attracted to them. Like I had one I guess it was.
But that weekend I saw him posted up at the bar and everybody knew him there. So I answered that.
Well, in barflies, yeah. You gotta love the barflies. I had one at the beginning of the year that was real fun. And he was so fun. I didn't even know what to do with myself. And
it's intimidating.
It is intimidating a little bit. Like he was very intelligent. Like and I went to his house. He had a gorgeous, gorgeous house. But he actually took me out. I'll give him that. Like we met kind of, I want to say it was a dating app. And then he was a very much a gentleman, for the first couple of dates. And like we went and, he, like I said, he was so fun. I'm like, what, like, we don't even go together. I'm like, I'm starting thinking, I feel like I'm a con. She doesn't even go here. Like, I'm just kind of looking at him and I'm just like, the first time I ever saw him take his shirt off, I was like, is this real? Like, is this really happening? Like, are you new here? I was thinking about, what was that movie? What was the movie with Ryan Gosling in it where she made him take his shirt off? Was it oh my gosh, what was her name? Is it Emma?
I don't know, but he's
so fun. But she kept making him take his shirt off and like wouldn't let him put his shirt back on. That's how I felt. And he was so fun, but like red flag city, just red flag. Then when I went to his house, he had a painting, which I found super fun and bizarre. But it was like a dog riding a whale, and the whale's penis was like out, like huge whale penis. And I just remember, like, he did not, but it was amazing. But I remember looking at it, and I'm like, I'm not really I mean, I love art, but it was the first time I'd ever been to like a man's house and really had to like read into the art on his wall. And I thought, that is the most masculine painting. Like, and I told him, I said, that painting oozed masculinity. And he was like, that was exactly what I was going for. And I was like, of course, you know. But I just remember like loving it. I'll always remember that. But he was so sketchy. Like he was very, very sketchy. He was very much, he would respond. And then he blew me off twice for a day. Like blew me off. Like just didn't, one day just planned on coming pick me up, never showed up. I had gotten ready and the whole thing. And after that I was like, you know what? I shouldn't return his phone call. And I didn't. And, you know,
did he have the audacity?
He had the audacity. He did. He like, it was an apology at like 4:00 in the morning because he fell asleep.
Of course he did.
And then I was like, no, cool, thumbs up. And I left it alone. And then like 2 months later, he messages me and I was weak.
Was that zombie? Was he zombieing?
He was zombieing. Yeah, he resurrected himself from the dead. And I had already written him off, but he was like, you know, but I don't know. Like I'm trying to figure out where do we go forward in the dating world with the dating apps? Like, how do we go forward? And I think we haven't recovered from COVID, and people were shut in, and it's like this whole new, and even people that are in their 30s, and I should say people in their 30s, like I'm 35. People our age should know how to date. Yeah, we should not be this fucked up. We really should not be this fucked up, but we are. We're totally endlessly fucked up because we let the pandemic do it. We stopped going out. We stopped, returning people's messages. But it's like, you know, how hard is it to return a message and say, you know what, I'm just not feeling this. I wish you the best of luck. That to me, people will say anything to your face. And even through a phone, they'll be like, sit on my face. And then you're like, bet. And, you know, those same people, I know those same people will say crazy stuff like that, but they can't say, hey, I'm just not feeling this. Or maybe I'm seeing somebody else. I've respected the men that did, and I encountered a few. And not saying I didn't get a little salty with a couple of them, you know, but I don't hold a grudge against them because I respected the honesty of, you know, hey, I'm seeing somebody else or I'm not ready. Don't use that excuse either. I'm not ready and then turn around and date somebody else. Just say, I'm not feeling this, you know, I just don't see this going further. You know, you're great. Give them a compliment. Tell them that, hey, I don't want to, you know,
do the sandwich method.
Yeah. I don't.
Give me something nice.
Yes, I don't.
Break it off.
I don't want.
End it nice.
Yeah, like I don't see this going further, but you're really great, and I hope that we can be friends. That's how you communicate, and most of the time, the women will totally leave that door open for you because you were honest and respectful. And even though, you know, like sometimes timing is a big thing, but they don't, and so they ghost and they act like 2-year-olds, and or they'll just be ugly when they get rejected. I mean, rejection is hard, but you know we're all adults, but the ghosting is just something else.
So I downloaded Hinge, and we're gonna go through a couple of profiles and just kind of judge them.
Have we seen this guy before?
We have not. This is a new guy. This is Stuart, and immediately dog pic. Love that.
Yeah.
Love that you have alive animals in your photo. Like, it's awesome that you hunt. It is, but it's like dead things. Not the biggest turn on. Maybe for like a mortician or somebody who digs graves. Somebody going along that line.
Or, you know, maybe the dip chewing women. Ooh. They love dead animals.
They do. They do. All right, the dorkiest thing about me is the lights in my house transition from cool white to warm white throughout the day in line with circadian rhythm. That sounds educated.
So, I love dorky guys. I absolutely love dorky guys.
Very educated though.
I'm here for the smart home stuff. You know, Adam that I dated, Huntsville Adam, he had like everything smart synced in his house, and it was really hot. And so we would make like real sexy playlists. And when he would say certain things, I'll censor what he'd say. But he had like triggers for them, and he would say certain things, and the lights would dim, and the fan would kick on, and the playlist would play, and I'm like, this is so nerdy, but I'm here for it.
It would be hot if the trigger was like, Lindsay's here.
So it's not Lindsay's here. It was, hey Google, I'm gonna rock Lindsay's shits. and then they did.
So scrolling down, next we have a picture of him in front of the Great Smoky Mountains National Park sign with his dog, who is really cute again. Another dog pic, which is super cute as well. Does that dog look forced? I know last time you thought the dog was forced.
Yeah. No, this dog looks really happy. And he's fluffy. And see, he's doing things with his dog. I'm here for that. Yeah. Great profile.
What if I told you that I'm banned from Bumble? That would make me definitely want to ask.
Red flag.
It's a red flag, but I'm curious now. I'm curious enough to click and ask. Another dog at the lake, so likes to go outdoors with his dogs. Mm-hmm. Oh, he can cook.
He's a cook.
That's definitely a plus.
Plus 10.
Yes. Does he clean up after? I hope so. God, I hope so.
You know, I really don't care. Like, if a man cooked, I would do dishes. I mean, I have a dishwasher.
I at least want him to be capable of it.
But yeah, if he's capable, it's fine. But like, if somebody cooked for me, I would 100% do the dishes.
Like, I wouldn't expect him to keep it up if we were together, but it's nice to know that they come that way. They already come trained.
See, here's
like an international.
Here's Stuart overseas.
Yeah.
But all the pictures are of his dog. I almost feel like he has a weird love affair with the dog.
Maybe he knows we really like dogs.
It's too many dogs. There's too many dogs on this profile.
Just the dog.
Yeah, he's got just the dog on here.
Let's move on.
Let's move on. Stuart. I give Stuart a 4 out of 5.
Absolutely not, Melvin. Absolutely not. First of all, group photo. We hate that. Second of all, it's a military group photo. So you are trying to invoke a certain type of person right here. You want a groupie. You want a groupie. Absolutely not. I won't shut up about bro science. Again, pass.
This guy's a nightmare. He's a nightmare already.
No, absolutely not. 6'5", that's kind of cool. This, I don't know what that is. What is that, like a dinosaur footprint? Is that him in the middle? No. Is that a crab? What is this?
It looks like a, pass. We're going to pass. Let's go to the next. Okay,
next
here's
is
him
drinking. Just like drinking. I bet you can't.
He takes really big sips. Oh, that's too much. Yeah.
Whew, goodness. How old was he? 37.
37 years old.
No, sir. Stop it. What are we doing here? I can't even look at it. I don't even think it's of him.
Hold on. Is that him or who is that in the background?
I feel okay. Hard ass pass, because here is, what was his name? Melvin at the gym, purposely taking a picture of a person behind him on the treadmill. Now, clearly he has some sort of intention on this because she's wearing jean shorts. Like, not something you would typically see at the gym.
He's shaming women at the gym.
Yeah, he's sitting here shaming people on his profile.
She very much could have come from her job.
Ugh. Like, already he's dropped down several levels.
He's like a negative 13 out of...
We'll give him negative 13.
Negative 13.
Yeah.
I hate everything about his profile.
It's disgusting. Oh, Lance. Oh, it's
this
Christmas
guy
with the dog.
This guy would take you home to mom.
Oh my goodness.
And I have a feeling he probably really loves his mom.
I get along best with people who are always kind to strangers, waiters, etc.
And that's a good quality.
Absolutely.
A man that's looking for a kind woman is a good man.
Yes, he's a videographer. So he can build your profile a bit.
Okay, he's got a funny t-shirt on.
Yeah, he's got a fun photo.
He looks fun.
There's
adventure photo.
It is adventurous. I feel like maybe I see a lot of these where they're just outside with a waterfall.
Yeah, I have a waterfall picture.
It's a good location.
I hiked by myself. I did my first hiking trip this summer by myself, and I have a waterfall picture, and I love it so much, not because of the picture, but because of the friends that I made at the waterfall.
Proof I have musical talent. I have absolutely zero talent, but I jam out in the shower, the kitchen, and on road trips. Feel free to join for all 3.
Oh, so he's kind of spunky.
Oh, that was a little spicy. I like it though.
Oh, he's singing into a tape. Okay, so I like this. I like this profile.
What is he singing? Is it him singing? Okay, he's just singing to it. So
I like it. I like this guy's profile.
He's ready to find a mom for his dog.
Oh,
and he's a runner.
He's a runner.
There's a kid.
Oh,
Nice.
I really like this profile.
I do
like
too.
a whole lot.
I do too.
What's his name? Lance?
Yeah,
Lance.
Lance.
I'm going to give Lance a 9 out of 10.
Love outdoor stuff. Love animals. Not so big on group photos. Not so big on your military photo. Or here's another thing, and I'm in no way bashing police officers whatsoever. I'm married to one. But please, for the love of God, don't put it in your dating profile. Do you see? I don't even know what Lance does. He could be a chef, but I don't see him standing there in a chef hat, like back in the kitchen.
He was a videographer.
Oh, he did put that, but he's not like. I just don't see pictures of people at work, and they're like, "Look at me."
So I've got a guy on my Facebook who is a police officer. He's a police officer for. I'm just going to say, it's the most underpaid department in our entire area.
Small?
It's a very small department. And he's made it his entire personality. Like, he goes to the gym, and he's a cop. And he's made it so much his personality that I cringe, that I had to hide, like, he's not done nothing to me, but it's so cringy that, you know, it's cringy with people who are in the service like that. Like, yes, I'm back the blue all the way, and I admire the work that our police officers do. Absolutely, 100%. I'll say it all day, every day. Even though I divorced a cop, some of them are not any fun to be around, but I respect the job, and I respect what they do. And the problem that I have with some of the guys that are living for this profession, they want so much clout. For putting that badge on, that the respect goes down.
Yeah, you're not doing it for the right reason.
Watch how much you are living this hype up. Like, I've seen so many bad situations. He would go so defensive of the job that even people that worked with him and people that work in the profession are like, look at him like, dude, like, this is ridiculous. It's almost embarrassing. I don't know how to, but he's a single guy, and he's got a new girlfriend like every 12 days. And it's almost like the 12 days of girlfriends for this guy. And I kind of hope he does it at Christmas. I kind of hope, like, I'm really here for the 12 days of girlfriends for this guy. And I can't, you know what we should do? We should get him on this podcast and see if we can get him 12 girlfriends for Christmas.
I bet we could. Easy.
I think we could.
Groupies.
Well, I think there's
Badge
like
bunnies,
I could cherry pick the girls on his Facebook page. I could cherry pick the girls, and we'll get him on here. I think we should get him on here and get him 12 girlfriends for Christmas. I think he'd think it was funny, probably, but I do want to tell him that it's cringy, that his whole personality is gym and police, and I'm just like, there's nothing else to clap for you about. You know, it's almost like, hey, do you clap for you? Clap for me. We'll clap for you. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of anybody that goes to the gym. I love it. Anybody that goes to the gym and betters and stuff, I'm all for it. But we can only clap so much. like let's clap twice a year, and then we're done. Twice a year, do something good. We'll clap for you. We're here for it. All the positivity. Best of love to you. But we don't need to clap for you every single day, all the days.
There is one police officer that I wish you would have tried out before you started
not dating police officers. I was one and done.
Like, I won't say his name, but I think you know his name because I've said it before, and I really wish you would have tried that out because I want to know what it's like. I
mean, I've got one. I mean, look, I got another single girlfriend. We'll throw her at him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I drew the line at police officers. That Velcro at 3:00 in the morning was just not for me. And I know the women that do it, and kudos to all of you guys. Kudos to you, Desiree.
It's tough being with somebody who people just literally throw themselves at him. You don't know what this man looks like outside of his uniform. Like, you just see him walking around. You're like, oh my God, he's got so much power. Take me, daddy.
I mean, he could be a hunter. God, you know how bad those guys are, the hunters?
Oh, he could.
The hunters? That's a universal thing for women. You ever talk to a woman and ask her, she could name him. Every single woman that I know, if you go, have you ever had a hunter? And they could name them all.
Like, yeah, I have another one. It was a different Tyler.
The hunters are the equivalent of a pillow princess for men.
Yeah.
The hunters are the worst.
This guy would finish quick, and then he'd just get up out of nowhere and he'd be like, "Oh, I'm so thirsty," and I'm like, "Wait."
Like they hug your shoulders.
We were doing
and then
something.
they don't make any eye contact. It's just
Yeah.
that. And then you have to like really
You might as well just lay there for it, because this is over.
yeah, it's like a pillow princess, and it's usually the guys that are like talking about the pillow princesses are usually the hunters. They're the ones going, she just laid there. I'm like, did she? Or was she just waiting for it to be over? We could talk about this all day, man. We could talk about, did she just lay there, or was she just waiting for it to be over? Like,
Truth.
Maybe it's me. Maybe it's me. I don't know.
Do they all wait for it to be over? We should evaluate that.
I think sometimes. I mean, I know that I have.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
But, where were we going?
Oh, the hot guy that I told you left something on his stove or whatever. So we did. And this was probably the most vanilla person I've ever been with, because he was boring me. So I was like trying to hype it up, like really grabbing into him, moaning, and he stops. And he looks at me, he was like, "Stop that. I don't like it." And I was like, whoa.
He wanted to be quiet?
I don't know what he wanted. He wanted me to just lay there while he hunched.
It's weird. I can't deal with it. I can't deal with that.
No.
I've dealt with some weird stuff. Like I had an ex that was really into like the peeing. He just wouldn't shut up about it, and for like the first, I don't know, month of our like
R. Kelly type?
Yeah, like R. Kelly guy, and I thought he was joking, so like I just played it off and ignored it. And then one day I found out that he was not joking, that it was something he was trying to be coy about and mention it. And then it was like, oh, danger, like it's stranger danger at that point.
What would be the attraction of that, other than like degrading someone?
I think it's the degrading of women. Like I've kind of learned a pattern of men that really like stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Like weird stuff,
like really
stuff that makes us uncomfortable
yes,
most of the time. The majority of us.
I think that they truly have an like an underlying hatred for women, some of them. And I'll say this unapologetically, and I don't care if anybody comes at me for it. I'll stand by it. I don't know any man that's into things that a woman would have to go, I don't think I would like that. And him not have some underlying issue with women. And it comes out in one way or the other. And in a lot of men, it comes out sexually.
Yep.
But I've learned that the two men that I dealt with that were the most abusive men that I dealt with had a real underlying hatred for women. One was adopted, and the other one, I don't really know what his deal was. I don't know that it was hatred towards women or just hatred towards himself. I just know that there was something there. And both of them sucked equally. And I will drag them all day on this podcast with no apologies. But that being said, I won't. There's some people I won't drag. I mean, some guys don't deserve the dragging. But those two guys specifically, drag them. Anybody that's into that weird wackadoo shit like that, I don't.
Yeah, or when they like decide they're just gonna switch it over to anal, like we're not gonna notice. You know where it's at. You didn't slip and fall in there. But I've asked people, why do you do it? And they're like, I don't know. It's just it's dirty. Like, it's not something I would do with my wife. I was like, oh, so you just do it like whores. Like, yeah,
I don't know. I don't think it's super taboo. In all honesty, like I really don't think it's very taboo.
Not anymore.
No, but I don't think I've ever felt that way about it.
People have kind of opened up a little more about it, but at one time it was just it was the fact that they would do it without permission.
Without permission is a problem.
Come out and then
but if they'll
lower it and try to go back in. It's like, whoa.
If they ask,
they usually laugh it off.
If they ask first,
whoops.
And they're respectful and they try to do it without causing any pain, or like, if they're respectful about, hey, or they'll ask you beforehand, like, hey, is this something that you're into? Those guys that's fine, and I don't think there's any kind of weird kink behind it. I think a lot of those guys, it's the ones that will try to do it without permission, the ones that are like, it's along the same lines of the degrading stuff. It's this is not a comfortable thing for women It's not comfortable for us. So, have the respect to make sure that make sure your lady's fine, being taken care of. Well, there's no sense in all of the making somebody uncomfortable. Nobody wants to have an uncomfortable sexual experience ever. Tinder makes things weird. Like, I feel like you learn those things with Tinder guys because they'll come out and they'll be like,
they get real bold on that.
Yeah, they're like, I like feet and fat girls, and I really like, being choked with a high heel. And they'll be real specific about it, and you're like, okay, how about I stab you with the high heel? How about I stab you with the high heel, and I sit on your face with a concrete block in my hand so that you suffocate. That's how I feel like. Until you stop twitching. Until you stop twitching. Like, just get out of here with this crap.
There are fetish sites for that.
Yeah, and they're asking. And the problem is that they'll swipe on women that look like they could be soccer moms.
Well,
my kids don't play soccer, but I'm like, hey, look, yeah. Oh, Mary Lou, are you into pegging? How about it? And I just wonder, is that what guys are into? Are guys into women that look like Amish, Jezebels? I mean, is that what they want? They want these little church-going ladies to come home and act like...
I think for like the short-term stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
But for long-term, they're looking for somebody a little more serious than that. But then those are usually the type that are going to find the other one on the side anyway.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, where do you draw the line with those guys, though?
Yeah.
I mean, how do you discern the guys on the dating apps that are looking for a serious relationship, or the guys that are looking for something to play with? And where do we figure this out? Like, where is the line drawn? I've been asking that question.
There's gotta be hints within the profile.
There has
somewhere.
to be. Like, I met the last guy that I'm dating. Didn't meet on. We didn't do a dating app, and it's that fine line of how do you play this game? I'm not good at playing the game. I'm not good at playing games. Like, I get in my feelings, and I want to talk about it. And I don't know when is a good time to talk about feelings, because on like dating apps, you can't really talk about that stuff right out of the gate. It's so superficial, and everything is like looks. But I've never been on a dating, like I've never been on I mean, I didn't do the apps very long because it was so superficial. Like, you get on there and guys will be like, "What's your shoe size?" You're like,
"How much do you weigh?"
What, like, can I get some pictures? And it's just so cringy.
That question. Yes, there are a lot of them.
Or it's my personal favorite. Hey. That's it. It's the whole conversation. Or it's hey. And then it's what are you doing? And then it's what are you doing for the next 12 days until you block their number. And that's what it is. It's hey, what are you doing? Hey, what are you doing? Like, can we talk about aliens? Can we talk about things that are interesting? Can anything like I loved, going to house. Like, I went to class night before last, and we watched Blow. We were talking about how hard it would be to like get drugs across the border, and that was a real conversation that we had, and I loved it because I'm like, this is not a realistic conversation. We're not talking about feelings because it's it's early. It's still super early, and there's things that you shouldn't talk about.
Right.
But it's like, these are fun. Like, these are fun things because you always kind of want to know. Those red flags are weird. You just don't. Sometimes you don't know if the guy that you're dating might join the cartel like 3 months into your relationship. What happens then? What do you do then if the guy that you're dating
if he joins the cartel,
Breaking Bad,
you are ride or die at that point. Otherwise, you're dead.
Yeah. I mean, what do you do? You just put on your do-rag and just go to town? I mean, I just don't know. Like, I don't have, I have a recipe how to make meth, but I don't think I could do it without blowing something up. I did not do well in chemistry. I don't know.
Greek sandwich. He did really good. Whenever he messaged me, he sent like this cliche pickup line. It was pretty good. Something about the 7 wonders of the world, and I'm the 8th. And it was so funny because I lived across the hall from my best friend at the time, and she matched with him too, and she got the exact same one. And so we were comparing them, and I was like, oh, how many times have you used that? And he's like, none, you're the first. He's like, everything needs a lab rat. I was like, you got a lot of rats in your lab. But he was just so funny, and he had such a good sense of humor about it, especially when I busted him for it. Like, he thought it was hilarious. And I ended up going down there and meeting him, and he was a really fun person. Like, he was a good time, and he was very upfront about things. Like, the very first day, I went down there, like, stranger danger, red flags, don't do this. But the very first time I met him, he lived 5 hours away. And he was like, if you come down here, I will get us a hotel room for the weekend and we can stay in Panama City. And I was like, bet. So I did. I went and met this stranger 5 hours away, and we drove to Panama City together.
And now you've got a fun story to tell.
Yeah. And as soon as I got there, he made me a steak, and he was like, hey, don't get used to this. I'm an asshole. Like, don't take this as a gesture of me being a nice guy. And I was like, okay, I can appreciate that. He was very upfront about matching with other people and like what he was doing on the weekend. And we had like this funny joke. When his roommate came home, he was like, hey, what's your name? And he said, Friday. He introduced me as Friday. And I loved that. But he was super upfront about it.
But you love a guy that's honest. Like,
yeah.
I dated a guy, like right after my divorce, I dated a guy who was also dating another girl. And the problem that ended up with that is that he was very honest with me about it, and he wasn't exactly honest with her about it.
Ooh.
So that turned into an ordeal. Not for me. It turned into an ordeal for her because I bowed out. And, you know, I was... But I liked that he was honest with me about it, but he should have been honest with everybody about it.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's I like you with the traveling and stuff. That's my only rule for the day is to remind all the ladies out here to just stop. Don't get in your car. Gas is freaking expensive right now, and there's still a wage gap. So, you know, I'm just, you're never going to find a sugar daddy. Like, a sugar daddy is never going to.
I feel like those are fake.
They are.
People make that shit up.
I don't know. I feel like they are, but I feel like they're out there. But I mean, still, like, even a provider, like a provider of a man,
they're gonna want to pee on you.
What,
those
the
are the
sugar
guys that pee
daddies?
on you. Yeah.
Oh, I don't see.
They're like, I paid for this.
See, I wouldn't know. Like, anytime an old dude stepped to me and been like, I have lots of money, I cringe at the thought, like, of doing things with the old men for money. It just feels so dirty. I'm not into it. You know, but just stop driving to these dudes' houses. Leave these stupid fuckers in the dust. If they're that late, like, it's so lazy. Like, they want a piece of tail. And that's the only reason they're calling and asking you to come over is because they want you in a comfortable space so that they can make you feel a little uncomfortable. And that's all that is. Like, they're not the kind of men who are confident enough to take you out to a restaurant and build an actual connection with you. They want you to be in their personal space so that they don't have to try as hard. All they have to do is sit a little close to you on the couch to get what they want out of you. And a lot of times women we're weak. Some of us are weak. I know I've been weak, and you wind up in really shitty situations with really shitty men that you should have never been there in the first place. My whole point is don't get in the car and drive. If a man cannot get in his truck or his car or whatever the hell, or van, whatever it is, Morgan, whatever he's getting in his vehicle to drive to you, he should drive to see you. It's a masculine thing. Fall into your feminine energy and just don't go. Stay home. Save your gas money. Use that money to buy a better vibrator.
Well, see, I appreciate that he was.
End of my soapbox.
Obviously, he wasn't looking for anything serious. He was pretty upfront about that. But I also like how he took it to neutral ground. Like, we met there, and then we rode from there to our hotel in Panama City. He paid for the whole weekend. He was loads of fun. He was like the male version of me at the time, because I was like crazy. I had just gotten out of a really bad relationship, so anything went. Like, fuck it, YOLO. Do people still say that?
Yeah, YOLO.
And so it was awesome. He took me to a strip club, and he had probably about $300-400 with him, and he just made me sit there with these stacks of hundreds, and that kind of sucked because they like came swarming like flies, And I was like, hold your money. And he's like, no, you're doing good. You're doing good. And I was like, get these girls off of me. And then he paid for me to, he came up to Huntsville one time and he had me meet him there again because he was in the military, and he brought a group of guys up here and we went to the Pony, and he did the same thing to me again, like handed me all this money, made me sit there with it. So I just got like swarmed on.
He's using you as bait. That's really clever. I'm
like
just being honest.
Like fruit flies all over me.
Like a fruit fly. He was legit using you as bait. That's crazy.
And then he paid that, whatever it is, the $50 so you can go up on the stage, sit in the chair, and they all like get dirty on you.
Yeah. I did that once for my birthday, and they took me up there, and then they started trying to take my clothes off. And I freaked out because I'm not a stripper. And I'm like, you guys are cool. That you guys want to go and strip your clothes off. That's fun. Zero judgment. But I get up there and they start trying to do it to me. And I'm like, this is not what, which I didn't pay for it, but my friends paid for it. They thought it was freaking hysterical. But we'll save stripper stories for another podcast because I have so many fun stripper stories. I actually have several friends I have one that strips in New Orleans and one that strips in Nashville.
I went with it.
And
I sat there and I went with it. They started pulling my shirt and I was like, uppies.
Yeah, I was like, look, I mean, like, I got a judgment for these girls. Like, I'm just like, hey. Like, I don't think I could do it just because I hear horror story. Like, I could never do it, but, like, I hear horror stories about women that do it. And, you know, but I mean, moral stories. Just don't drive to these guys' houses anymore. Let's just leave that. We're leaving that.
We're leaving that in 2015.
Leaving that in 2015.
That's where we're
done.
That.
We're not bringing that energy into 2023.
No.
Because it's almost 2023, and we got to talk about that soon. So maybe we'll talk about that in the next podcast.
Oh my God.
Talk about how it's going to be 2023, and we got to bring a new energy because it's been 3 years since the pandemic started.
Because this sucks.
And we gotta fix some shit. So that's our goal.
We do. So, Desiree and Lindsay signing off.
Signing off.
Cheers, bitches.
Tea time. Cheers.